Good morning, campers. Welcome to episode 1 of my series, Is This My Twin? Or is this a karmic catalyst, karmic connection, false flame? In this series, I'm going to break down all the key core characteristics of twin flame connection so you can find confirmation in your heart. What are you actually dealing with, and are you or aren't you in a twin flame connection? So today we're going to be talking about the most important characteristic of the connection, the most important question that every divine feminine has to ask herself. And I'm going to break down the answer to you because that's actually the reason I'm creating this series. Many of these questions that we're going to be asking, I want to break it down in a full-on episode, because many feminines, when you are under a veil of your shadows, when you are in denial, when you are wounded, when you are unhealed, you will make the answer fit, right? So I really want to break this down for you. So this first core characteristic, the most important one, is that in a twin flame connection, when we talk about activated twins, activated twin flames, right? So twin flames that were meant to meet, come into union for the greater good of themselves and humanity, because they have a mission, right? So activated twin flames, the feminine must awaken. The feminine must awaken spiritually. So if you are asking yourself, am I or am I not in a twin flame connection, your first most important question will be, have I awakened spiritually? And today we're going to break down what it actually means and how it looks like, right? Because there's a lot of confusion, unfortunately, around this topic. So the feminine in twin flame connection, activated twin flame connection, awakens relatively fast, right? So it's not something that's going to come to you within years of knowing this person. There's a bit of a difference for the first wavers. And I've done an episode about this. I'll put it on the screen so we can go ahead and watch that. But the moment you are activated, okay, activated to the journey, from that moment, it's gonna be literally hours, days, maximum of weeks, where your kundalini starts to rise, when your serpent will open its eyes. And I've talked about this process in many of my videos, explaining, because there's a lot of misconception about that as well, that kundalini awakening is a process that can be a bit different for every divine feminine. It's something that you cannot miss. The moment the serpent opens its eyes, it's a moment you cannot miss. You cannot miss. You might not know what's going on in the moment if you've been really a dormant vessel. You didn't have a lot of spiritual awareness. You may not know what's going on, but looking back, right, you would know exactly when it happened. And your kundalini doesn't awaken in just like that, right? That's why I always say that the serpent opens its eyes, and it's a moment that you cannot miss. It's a very intense moment. It's a painful moment on the level of the soul, on the level of the body, oftentimes as well. And the process of kundalini awakening starts, and that process can take months, years, to some, to fully learn to work with this energy, because the awakened energy that is at the base of your spine, the serpent energy, has to move through all your chakra points up to the crown, opening you as a channel to divine. And this is where I want to discuss what it actually means to be spiritually awakened, because I really met many feminines, not just in my personal life, but also clients who came to me in sessions and thought that they were on a twin flame connection and that they were spiritually awakened, because they didn't understand what it actually means. And I've also done some videos, so you can find those on my YouTube, about the difference I think I've done a Rod session as well about this, the difference between spiritual awakening and spiritual awareness, right? So spiritual awareness is something that many people will have on some levels, and a lot of people will start having and educating themselves on that, and the truth of life, the meaning of life, right? So that action has a reaction, that karma is real, that we lived a variety of lifetimes, that there are destined connections, that we are divinely guided by a higher force, right? These are topics that many people talk about. And if you have social media, you must know this, that there's so much content about manifestation and coming into your power and awakening the feminine, the masculine, the divine, right? But the fact that you know all these things, that you work on yourself, that you do shadow work, that you believe in karma, it doesn't mean that you're fully spiritually awakened, because every person, it's just labels. Remember that. And I've covered that in this episode. Maybe I will link it or show it on the screen when you can find that, so I don't have to ramble about it now and today. But as divine feminine seeking for confirmation, are you actually in a twin flame journey? You have to ask yourself, have I really awakened? Has this man awakened my kundalini? For very few divine feminines it happens before. Those of you who were not dormant vessels, but you would know, you wouldn't be watching this video. Has this man awakened my kundalini? Which means that he initiated a process for me that awakened my serpent energy, my kundalini energy, that rose into power, awakening me as a channel. Being a channel means that you have the capacity, not just intuition. I'm highlighting this in a very maybe brutal way, because really I've met many feminines who think that they're intuitive, they're spiritual, because they believe in karma, because they burn sage, because they occasionally, contemplate and have intuitive thoughts and see synchronicities 111 and 222 on the clock, right? It's not it. It's not enough. When we talk about true spiritual awakening, it means that you awaken as a channel, and that gives you the capacity. And it's not something that is accessible for all, because if your soul has not chosen to awaken in this life, no matter what you do, right? No matter what charlatan you go to that claims otherwise, if your soul has not chosen this path, confirmation, did you hear the dog? Chosen this for you, you will not be able to do it, and it's absolutely okay, right? We have to look at life as a journey of lifetimes, not just journey of that specific life. So awakening means that your masculine awaken your kundalini, opening you as a channel, and you start to see beyond the veil of physical world. How you start to see is going to be different for every feminine, because we're going to have different gifts activated within us, right? But immediately your clairs will get activated. So you will either start to see things, visions from beyond the veil, or hear voices, or feel emotions, pain of your ancestors, things from beyond the physical world will start to activate, and then your gifts will start to activate, right? So whether your gift is to be a psychic medium, or a channeler, or an energy reader, energy worker, right? Whatever that is, whatever is slowly already linking you to your mission. But it's not a moment that you can miss. It's not mild, right? And the reason I mention this is because I've worked and met some feminines, right, who were really confusing this characteristic of twin flame journey, because your karmic catalyst can create such a pivotal moment in your life that you will become spiritually aware. So oftentimes you're going to have karmic connections when you met someone, the intensity is so strong, We're going to talk about different characteristics later. And as you meet this person, you it's usually when you move from your physical karma to your spiritual karma, And when you meet this person, you start to become more aware when it comes to you, your shadows, how lessons of life, right? Because it's a purpose of karmic connection as well. So many women become a bit more spiritual. Many women start to think, oh my God, this connection was so destined. So there has to be this greater power. It helped me to get out, perhaps, right? In some cases, from another connection. And something spiritual is awakened within them, right? So they start to believe in destiny and karma, all these things that I've mentioned, but it's not actually spiritual awakening, right? True divine feminine on a twin flame connection, the reason you meet your twin is for them to activate you for a journey where you become a channel to divine knowledge, divine information, the high priestess. In a process of separation, you will develop yourself, right? You will step into your authentic self, but you are gaining the ability to reach beyond the veil, because part of your mission is to touch the physical and the spiritual, to be able to guide others, to be able to lead others. So you will start a journey where spirituality is not just going to be something that you're aware of. It's going to be your life on a daily basis. You're going to be going through activations. Your clairs, your gifts will become more pronounced. Again, you're going to be seeing things, hearing things, sensing things, connecting telepathically to other people. It's not just random intuition here and there that we all have. All people have the capacity to become spiritually aware and activate their clairs, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, right? But to really become a channel where you hear information and see information from beyond the veil, understanding slowly that it is with a mission to share this information with others. That's something that is given to the journey, right? So if you have known someone for months or years and you are not an open channel where you're a medium, right? Well, not all maybe feminists are mediums, but again, you're a channel. So you receive downloads of information that are relevant to you and to your mission, and you have a specific spiritual mission, right? You are not on a twin flame journey. And I'm going to mention this just in this episode because I don't want to be repeating myself. It's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. There is no superiority and inferiority here. It's just a different journey. We all have different journeys. We all have different paths, right? And my part of my mission is to be vocal about, your path, your destiny, soul connections, types of soul connections, because when you know what you're dealing with, it helps you to heal. It helps you to grow. It helps you to connect to your highest, most abundant timeline, and ultimately to your inner guru that will be guiding you, right? So it's very important. And I always say this, if you are on a karmic connection and you think it's a twin, it's like trying to make a meringue with a spoon. You're going to be wasting time. You're going to get nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And other way around, if you are in a twin flame connection and you're still having doubts that this is a karmic, you're prolonging your journey, right? If everything happens for a reason. That's why I never force this information on no one unless you come to me in session or you decide to view my videos, right? But in a real actual life, ladies that talk about these things, and I've done some videos about this recently as well, I never try to convince anyone, because sometimes some people are meant to stay in this belief, right? For whatever reason. It can vary. We all have very individual journeys. But yes, back to the core topic of today. Divine feminine on an activated twin. If you're masculine watching, that's also how you can confirm whether you're actually on a twin flame or not. If a feminine connected to you is actually your divine feminine, your counterpart, the other half of your soul stuck in another body, she would be activated. she would be awakened. Her kundalini would have awakening, a moment we cannot miss, right? A moment that changes your life, a moment that marks the before and the after, a moment where the veil lifts, the veil that for the masculine lifts very slowly and very gradually, and it's up to here until the very last moment. For us, it's just a poof, right? And then we navigate this journey. We have to understand what's underneath the veil and learn to work with this information, decipher this information, not filter it through the ego, but through the soul. This is why we have to do the healing. But this information is shown to us immediately. The veil is lifted. There's no way to miss it. Again, you become a channel. You start an active journey of healing. And if that's something that has not happened to you, there's no way on earth that you are on a twin flame connection, and it's absolutely okay. I say this all the time. This journey is magic. This journey is beautiful, but I cannot understand why someone sane would actually choose this consciously. So people who think that they're on a journey and they're saddened by the fact that they're not on a journey, it's simply because you have no idea what it actually means. It is pain. It is work. It is years of sacrifices, of stripping the layers of your shadows, of walking through hell of your demons. It is pain. It is pain. And I say it, with a smiled face, because once you're at the other side of the tunnel, you understand that it is one of the most beautiful things that can happen to you, but it is a very specific journey. It's for the strongest, for those of us who came here with that mission, specific mission, and it's not something that you can force. So if you have not awakened fully and became a channel, and discovered that spirituality is something within you, is part of your life's mission, it's just simply a karmic connection, and you have to start understanding that connection and learning from that connection in order to be able to let go and to close it out. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you tomorrow for second episodes.